What's up? It's me, your girl, comedian Carmen, and I'm going to tell you something. They always say it ain't where you been, it's where you at. And I'm going to tell you, my life is good right now. Throughout all my struggles and hardships and aches and pains, at the end of the day, my life is good. One thing that people don't know about my life is where I come from. So today we're going to find out. I'm going to let y'all know right now. I come from struggle. Let's go, baby.
It didn't kill me, but it made me stronger, though, because I asked myself, did you die, though? Yeah. Confessions of a Widow.
Yeah. Trying to piece it back together, I've been stressing. I ain't been the same since I lost my best friend. My thoughts is crowded, don't know what to do about it. So I figure I should sit down and talk about it. Weight of the world on my shoulders, but still I go hard. So I created a session called the Report Card. 4 C's and 2 F's, the C stands for comedy, cooking, crafting, and Christianity. The 2 F's is fashion and fitness. Then I do the comical confessions to tell you all of my business. They ask me how am I doing and I can't lie though. Yeah, damn near killed me. But did you die though? Confessions of a widow. But did you die though? Confessions of a widow. But did you die though? Nope. But did you die though?
It didn't kill me, but it made me stronger, though, because I asked myself, did you die, though? Yeah. Confessions of a Widow.
That's right. Welcome to episode 3. I'm so glad y'all tuned in to me. I appreciate you guys so much for all the love and support. Listen, this is it. We're right here in Ghetto Girl Studio, and this is the podcast that y'all are growing to love. That's right. But did you die, though? Confessions of a Widow. Listen, today is a really special day, and I'm going to be honest. I kind of shifted things around. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this or not, but I got a sign from God that the people needed to hear, because we always have these podcasts and we always have this social media where everybody faking the funk. Ain't nobody keeping it real. Ain't nobody telling you what's really going on with them. They're not telling you the hardship. They only tell you about the good shit. But I'm going to tell y'all, things are decent now, but guess what? I come from struggle. I'm going to tell y'all what jogged this today for me. Yesterday was an amazing day. Yesterday I came home, I flew in from working on the road, and when I got in, I checked my mail, and one of the things in my mailbox was something that would have, made my heart race back in the 90s and early 2000s. It was a DMV registration bill. That's right. My DMV registration bill. Now, I remember a couple of years ago, I got this bill and I was able to pay it, but I put it to the side because they sent it to you like way early, like 3 months early. Put it to the side, forgot about it, couldn't find it, got the reminders, decided to go shopping the day before I got the reminders, so I didn't pay it then. Ended up having to pay $200 in late fees because I didn't pay it on time. So I didn't do that. What I did was I got my tail up. I went to the grocery store because, see, I'm going to tell you something about California. They're going to make it easy for you. They're not going to make it hard for you to pay your bill. They're going to make it easy. Before COVID, listen, you used to have to go to the DMV, wait in that long-ass line, spend all day paying your registration renewal. I guess you could mail it in, but all I knew was going to the DMV office. But I'm going to tell y'all, they changed things around. They got these machines now. You go to the machine, they're in a grocery store, you hit the button, boom, bap, bam, and it's paid. And it reminded me of how much I struggled back in the day when I was young, because this was something that I was never able to do. See, I'm born and raised in St. Louis. Shout out to everybody from the Lou who tuning in and supporting me. Born and raised in St. Louis, and I'm going to tell y'all, the hustle in St. Louis is getting people with them bad tags. See, we built in the struggle. They build things to oppress poor people. See, when you get your vehicle, you barely have the money to get the car. Now you got to pay the taxes on the car first. And you got to get your tags. And then once you get comfortable, the year done went on, you got to pay it again next year. So I never had money for my tags. I remember I had 3 kids, and I was always riding around in buckets, and when I could afford to get a car, I didn't have no money for no dang on tags. I was so excited about getting a new car, and I'm like, got the new car, come on kids, got a new car. And listen, it was always a headache to try to get my tags. I remember I did have a hookup at one point where I can get the tags for a little cheaper, but that stuff never lasts. And I remember I was always riding on bad tags. And that's what they do. In St. Louis, every jurisdiction, they hunt you down when you got bad tags. They pull you over, they harass you, they give you tickets, they give you, when you don't go to court, because you can't go to court if you ain't got your tags, so you don't go to court. And so I would just have dozens of warrants. No, I'm serious. I would just have warrants everywhere from having these bad tags. It got so bad to the point where my kids was just so sick of me getting pulled over and going to jail. They used to be scared of the police, like, oh, here come the police. Mama, you finna go to jail again. Who house we gonna go over now? I'm like, just shut up. Maybe he nice. Every once in a while, I will get a nice cop. But for the most part, I was getting locked up, And I just thank God that I'm no longer living that life. I'm no longer struggling, because those days wasn't good. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say that I started from the bottom. That's what people started from the bottom. Now we here. Listen, I ain't started from the bottom, but baby, I was in the middle. Okay. I was definitely in the middle. I have never had to sleep in my car and live in my car. I don't have that story. I have never sat with my kids in the dark lighting candles because our lights was cut off. I don't have that story, but I'm going to tell you, I done got close. I may not have had my lights cut off, but I have had to pay my bill on the cutoff day, get them a rubber check, put the receipt on, tape the receipt onto the meter. And when they come to cut it off, they see the receipt on the meter so they don't cut it off. By the time the check bounces, my check for my job would hit. And so I'd be able to hurry up and make another payment before they cut it off for good. That was my life. That was my life. I had a house, I had a job, and I had a car. But that was it. Once I got my little paycheck and bought groceries, I was broke. I remember having $20 to get me 2 weeks till I got the next paycheck. So I'm cooking every day, and I had to hustle. I remember having man, let me tell you something. I can't even believe I'm not in jail, all that line I did to get them food stamps. Because they didn't want you to stay up. They wanted to keep you down. The second you started making a little bit of money, now you don't qualify for food stamps no more. The second you start making a little bit of money, now you don't qualify for daycare no more. So I would get them little 20-cent raises and start making a little bit of money. And now they want to come cut my food stamps off. They want to come cut my daycare off. When I tell y'all the shit I did to keep my daycare, I'll never forget. I used to have to make fake check stubs. So I would take my check stub, take the number, cut it almost in half, do all that damn copying and cutting and taping. One time I spent my whole 8 hours making a damn fake. I didn't do no damn work that day. I made fake check stubs the whole damn day I was at work just to try to keep my daycare. It was crazy. It was always a struggle for me. But I made it work. I made it happen. I spoke in a couple of early episodes about boosting. Listen. That was my hustle. I didn't even really want to be a booster, but I used to go hustle up, give me a couple of outfits, go to the beauty shop and sell them. That shit was so easy. I was making more money boosting clothes than I did on my job. I used to be like, fuck this job. What? I done made more over the weekend selling shit in the beauty shop than I'm making in 2 weeks. The struggle. But that wasn't a lifestyle that I wanted to continue to live. And did I involve my kids? Yes. They should lock me up. I should be ashamed, but I'm not. I had one of them double strollers, baby. I used to go in Home Depot. My oldest was at school. My younger son was in the front of the stroller. In the back of the stroller, I had the little seat let back. I would go in Home Depot and steal all sinks and faucets and shit and put it back there. All that little expensive shit. Y'all know them goddamn faucets. That's $100. And that's back when Home Depot gave you cash when you return something. See, y'all don't know about the struggle. See, just to be happy that you don't know that life. Home Depot gave you cash. They gave you cash when you returned something and you didn't have a receipt. They just needed your ID. So once I figured that out, I was pregnant with my daughter, had my 2 boys. And people like, where was the daddy at? Shit, they was in the car waiting on their ID so they could take the next shit back. Everybody was hustling, damn it. It's a family affair, It was crazy. My life was crazy back then. All I knew was hustle. And that's the reason now I apply all of those hustles to my everyday life now. And I still continue to do it, They say the average millionaire makes what? the average millionaire has 7 sources of income. So even millionaires don't just have one job, one hustle. They got to get another hustle. And I'm going to tell y'all, everything that I did, every job that I had prepared me for my entrepreneurship. I worked at McDonald's. I hustled to get that job. That's how I learned how to change the check stubs, because I had to change my birth certificate. I wanted that job when I was 15. If you can get a job when you're 15 with a worker's permit. So I was 15, but I couldn't get the worker's permit because my behavior at school was too bad. So you had to get the worker's permit for school. So you go to the counselor, you get the worker's permit. But if you had too many write-ups and too many issues in school, then you didn't qualify for the worker's permit. And so maybe I wouldn't be so damn bad if I had a job, but they wasn't trying to hear that. They didn't give me the worker's permit. So I remember I got my little birth certificate, changed the date, changed it from 1976 to 1975, made myself be 16. Yes, 1976. That's the year I was born. Tell me black don't crack, baby. And y'all getting me today with no makeup on, because I'm going to let y'all know right now, I'm not finna get y'all used to these lashes and lipstick every damn week on this podcast. Y'all going to get the old natural sometimes too. So today we giving old natural. No makeup. Listen, got my little ponytail going. 76. That's the year I was born. So I'm in my chamber birth certificate. From 76 to 75, to make myself be 16, to get my first job. Where? Everybody's first job. McDonald's, duh. Yes, I worked at McDonald's, Berkeley, Missouri. McDonald's on Airport Road. That was my first job. And I'm going to tell you, the things that I learned at McDonald's, I use now. Suggestive selling. When somebody comes and they ask, for an extra value meal. See, when I worked at McDonald's, it was the introduction to the extra value meal. See, before you used to have everything a la carte. Then they had the extra value meal. I'll never forget the extra value meal. When it first came out, it was $2.99, $3.16 with tax. See, y'all don't know nothing about the struggle. $2.99, baby. I'm talking about back in the day. Big Mac McDLT, a quarter pounder with some cheap nuggets, take the golden French fries. Y'all know the song. We ain't gonna go back that far, but I'm telling y'all, that was my first job, and I'm telling you, you had a suggestive sale. If they order something, you'd be like, would you like a pineapple pie with that? People curse me out, but guess what? When I'm at my table after my shows and I'm selling merchandise and I'm selling the dress, would you like to add a hat with that? I got a hat, the hat to match the dress. Would you like to add a brooch? It's everything I do now, I learned from the struggle. Everything, So back to the place and getting arrested. It was just a life that I'm not proud of, but all of that made me stronger. It made me who I am today. Now, I came from middle class. My father, Isidore Barton Jr., and my mother, last name now is Bland, but my parents were married. None of me or my siblings were born out of wedlock. My parents got married first, and then they had 3 children. They eventually broke up, and I have my step-parents now. But I was born into a 2-parent household. My father worked at McDonnell Douglas. McDonnell Douglas is what we know now as Boeing. So that's where he worked, and he quit that job and got a job at Emerson Electric. He worked for A.G. Edwards. He always had good jobs. He moved the family out of the city into St. Louis County, and he provided for his family. When my parents broke up, I was provided for. They took care of me. And so I didn't struggle. I didn't come from a broken home where, we never had anything. It wasn't like that. And I think that I would have done much better in life if I didn't have them kids back to back. But I'm going to tell y'all, back in the 90s, that thing was hot. You hear me? Baby, I was hot. Had them kids back to back to back, okay? And that's when it got to struggle stages, because taking care of one child is enough, Then I'm steady having the kids back to back. I had my 2 boys. Then I wanted a girl so bad. Now she running around here looking like a boy. That's a whole nother podcast episode, though. We're going to get into that later. But I love all my children and I love everyone. But I'm just saying, I think I drowned her in pink until she was like, I don't even want to be a girl no more. You got me in so much damn pink. So it is what it is. But like I said, that's a whole different podcast episode. Anybody who knows my material know that I speak often about how my daughter is a part of the LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ. And listen, I'm telling y'all, I shout out to everybody in the LGBTQ, because when my daughter was going through a struggle with her identity, they welcomed her. And she had people to go to that understood what she was going through and was able to accept her. And they welcomed her with open arms, apparently open legs too. I don't know, whatever they be doing, whatever the shit is. But listen, at the end of the day, she was loved, and she still is loved, and it's a part of life. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to joke about the things that we go through in life. Nevertheless, I bought my first home at the age of 24. See, I had 2 kids. I was pregnant with my 3rd child, my daughter. I closed on my first home on June 19th, and I had my daughter on July 29th. The year 2000, Y2K, the year that everybody was taking all that water, putting it in the basement, and thinking the world was going to end at midnight. I was pregnant during those times. And I had a good life, but at the end of the day, after I got done paying all my bills, there wasn't no money left for no plates. It wasn't no money left to be paying off no warrants. It was nothing left. I literally lived from check to check. It's a blessing to get a check. Some people don't have, some people have nothing. So I'm not saying that I came from the bottom, but I definitely was living from check to check to check to check to check, literally robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I'm grateful to God that I don't live that life anymore. I'm much more well off than I am now. And, I've been through the struggle, and I think that it helps me be able to appreciate where I am now. Am I rich? No. But one thing about it, I'm well enough off to look rich. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. I'm well enough off to look rich. And so it's definitely a blessing. It definitely felt good for me to go and get that piece of mail, go to the DMV machine, pay it off, have it not even hurt me. It didn't even hurt me to pay that bill. It even go and put that sticker on my car. I never was able to do that for the whole entire time that I owned a vehicle in St. Louis. Was I ever able to get a registration, go and pay it, and have my tags straight? I moved to Los Angeles with fucked up tags. that solved my problems. I drove my van to LA, took the seats out of it, because I had the minivan. I had the soccer mom van. With the TVs and the headrest. I drove my van to Los Angeles. I left my kids, left my family. I said, I'm going to get to LA. Shit. Probably like 6 to 8 months. I'm going to blow up. I'm going to be rich. Cause I'm the funniest bitch out there. So, give me good 6 to 8 months in LA. I'm gonna be rich as fuck. I did well here. I immediately started getting TV credits, but it didn't take 6 months. Shit, more like 17 years to get where I am now. And like I said, I'm not the most popular. I'm not the richest, but I'm very well established and very well accomplished. And I'm very proud of myself for continuing to stick with my dreams throughout all the adversities, throughout all the things that I have been through. I have continued to stick with it. I have developed a formula that works for me, works for my family. I'm a road comic. Do I go and do all of the Hollywood clubs? I don't do it. I don't do that no more. Number one, I've already did it. And I understand how it works. I'm not knocking anybody who does it, but I'm not going to work on stage for $20. That's just not my get down. I'm a road comic. I figured out another avenue, and that is to go on the road and make money on the road. And that's a whole nother avenue that's beneficial for me. And then on that journey, was fortunate enough to get TV credits. Shout out to Miss Pat. We came up in the trenches together, and she reached for me, and you can catch me on Wednesday nights. Miss Pat settles it. And at the end of the day, no matter how the cookie cuts, I'm a motherfucking star. You can catch all of season 1 on BET Plus, and we have season 2 now on the regular BET, and those are going to switch over to BET Plus. I think it's like 2 weeks after it air, and so not a lot of people can you can turn on the TV and see them every week. So I'm blessed and highly favored, and I'm happy that I've been here, and it has been a long journey for me to get here, and I'm grateful for all the joys and the pains, and I'm grateful for, it's so hard to be grateful for the fucked up part, because it's so crazy that as soon as I had my life together, where I was I had raised my children were doing good, I met the love of my life, married the love of my life, everything seemed perfect, and then my world came tumbling down when my husband died. But I'm gonna constantly remind you guys of the name of this podcast. All that I have been through since 15 years old, changing my birth certificate to get a job at McDonald's. I've always been an entrepreneur. Before McDonald's, I sold candy. Before McDonald's, I went to a store called Venture. People in St. Louis know the store called Venture. They had a black and white striped sign. The one on 270 and Florissant Road. 270 at West Florissant was the one that I went to the most. It was the most popular one in North County. And I would get them big old bags of blow pops. I think the bag might have cost $2. Might have had 20, 18, I don't know the exact number, but I'm telling you, I flipped the shit out them blow pops. I sold the blow pops for 25 cents. The most popular flavor was apple, but they only gave you 2 or 3 apple. So if you want an apple, that bitch was 50 cents. And I had pockets full of quarters every day selling blow pops. I would take my money, go back to Venture, get more blow pops, because I wanted some LA Gear boots. See, this love for fashion didn't just happen overnight. This just didn't happen because I got money. I've always wanted to be fly and been fly. I wanted a used jean outfit. My mama, by that time my parents were divorced, my mama had, 3 teenage kids, and a used outfit. Y'all remember used jeans? Denim, patchwork type used jeans. That stuff was expensive. I want a used jean outfit. You think I'm going to pay $200 for a used jean outfit for one child? I got 3 kids. I don't have that type of money. So I went and got my own. I got me a used jean outfit, and I got the LA Girl boots to match. All off selling blow pops. So the hustle has always been instilled in me. And I'm appreciative of all my social media fans and friends and all my family on social media and everybody, and the opportunity to be able to reach thousands and thousands of people and have them hear my voice and be an influence to them. But I'm going to tell you, I come from the trenches, and they can shut all this shit down, and I bet you I still be okay. And I think that is what is deep down in my gut. That's what was deep down in my gut telling me to continue to fight, because it was so easy for me to just quit everything when my husband died, But that 15-year-old girl that changed her birth certificate to work at McDonald's to get a job so she can have the finer things in life, because I had come too far. Me and my husband had plans on moving out of Los Angeles. He was going through a custody battle, and we was like, we're going to try one more time. We get it. We'll be able to tell the courts, support us, get the support that we needed to move out of state. If we didn't, we was going to move out of state. And I think that it would have been easy for me to just leave after he died. But guess what? I'm still here. I'm still standing. Throughout all my adversities, I'm still standing. And because of what was instilled in me when I was 15, when I was 12, selling candy, selling little packs of candy called Jingles. Everybody knows now laters, but who remembers the candy called Jingles? They was in a little bitty pack. They were like mini now laters, selling Jingles and selling blow pops. All of that prepared me to be able to live anywhere. See, a lot of people come to LA. Let me tell you something about LA. It sound good. It look good. Oh, I live in Hollywood. Oh, I'm out here living my dreams. I'm on this stage. I'm on that stage. It sounds good. But to actually be able to come out here and thrive is a bitch. That's the reason why most people come out here. They stay for a couple of years. They leave. They don't. It doesn't work the way that they thought. I thought it was going to be quick. I thought, shit, I'm funny as fuck. Give me a couple years. I'll be on TV. It don't work like that. But the struggle, because I come from struggle and I was able to master the art of making $12. I made $12.50 an hour. That's the income that I had when I bought a house at 24 with 2.5 kids. Maintained the home. That's just the grit that I was born into. And so that's a part of my life that most people don't know. You look at me, and I look like I've been this way forever. No, my love for fashion, I wasn't able to shop at Famous Bar. See, I'm showing my age. Famous Bar, we now know it's Macy's. It always didn't be Macy's. It was Famous Bar. Okay. It wasn't the Macy's parade. It was the Famous parade. And so, or the Famous Bar parade, whatever it was. But, I couldn't afford that. So I had to improvise, and I had to go to TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and I could find name brand stuff there. And I don't care how much money I got in my account. I don't care how much money I make. I'm still running my ass up into TJ Maxx and some Marshalls because they still got good deals. And I'm gonna tell you something. Fashion is not always about how much you pay. Ain't always about a label and a high end something. It's about being able to mix the vintage. A bad bitch can go to Walmart and accessorize it and make it look like $1 million. That's what fashion is to me, in my opinion. And so that's where I originally developed it, not being able to afford to go get the finer things. Because you got a used outfit, but that's one outfit. What you going to do with that once you wear that? You got to figure out how to mix it up with something else. I come from struggle, and I'm grateful for my struggle. And I want you to know that if you are in the struggle right now, to continue to push, because wherever you end up, it's going to come from the beginning stages of that struggle. Wherever you end up, and I'll guarantee you, if you keep pushing, you're going to the top. And everything that you learned in a struggle, you're going to pull it with me. Everything that I learned from every job, I got fired from every job I ever had in my life. And everything that I learned from those experiences prepared me for who I am today. So that's who I am. That's where I've been. They say it ain't where you've been, it's where you at. Well, where I've been is in a struggle, and it has brought me to where I am. So I'm glad y'all listened to me. It's time for my favorite part of the show, y'all. That's right. The report card session. Oh my God, y'all. I love the report card session. A little quick recap. The report card session is a segment of the show where I go into my report card. Now, my report card, it's 4 C's and 2 F's, okay? And that sounds failing and that sounds average, but it ain't nothing failing or average about me or my life. And so those 4 C's and 2 F's definitely represent what has brought me through my struggle, what has brought me from that struggling 15-year-old girl who changed her birth certificate to get the job at McDonald's, from the girl who was selling blow pops that she got from Venture. Those things is what has brought me to where I am today. 4 C's. First is Christ. Listen, I talk on stage. I use profanity. I talk about a lot of inappropriate things. But let me tell you something. Nothing is going to dictate my relationship with God. You don't know where I've been and where God has taken me from. And although I am imperfect in many ways, I ain't gonna never be perfect. That does not dismiss that I love Jesus Christ. I have a relationship with God, and God has brought me through the struggle. And if it's anybody responsible for me still standing, it's definitely Jesus Christ. And so the C is for Christ. The other C's on my report card: crafting, comedy, and cooking. Baby, I love to cook. Let me tell you something. Nothing prepares you to be able to cook the way that I can cook better than struggle. Having to stretch a meal, having to take $12 and feed myself and 3 kids with $12, having to be creative in that kitchen. That's what brought me to where I am now from the struggle. Crafting. Listen, crafting come from struggle. You can't afford to buy the real things. You got to make this shit yourself. You know, my 2 Fs are fashion and fitness. Listen, fitness, we need to be talking about fitness every week because your girl done fell off. Shit. I promised myself I wasn't going to get no more plastic surgery procedures. I wasn't going to get no more lipo. I did good. I went from 199 to 169. But I'm back up to 180 and it's a struggle. But I'm focused. I got some things going on with me. You know, this whole perimenopause bullshit is just for the birds. Like, my body need to pick a side. Because why am I having hot flashes and on my period? Like, what you going to pick a side, bitch? You want to be old and all sewn up and have hot flashes? Or you want to be still in childbearing stages where you menstruating? My body's confused. That's another episode. But I need to get on my fitness. And so that's one thing that I'm not doing as well as I should be. But we're going to improve together. And the other F is fashion. Today, the report card session and the report card segment is going to come from one of those C's, and it's crafting. And this is an example of what you can do when you come from struggle. One of my favorite things to do is craft. Crafting, I've always been crafty. I learned how to do nails. I used to do nails in high school. Some people in high school remember I used to do nails. And that came from me not being able to afford to get my nails done. I had to do my own nails. And then I got good, started doing other people's nails. I've always hustled. I'll never forget I had a job in Northwest Plaza at a kiosk doing nails. I also worked at the Athlete's Foot simultaneously. I've always been a hustler. I've always made sure I can make things happen. But crafting is a huge part. Preparing me for the struggle and staying in that mindset is what has enabled me to craft. So today we're going to have these crafting items. And listen, this is an example of what you can do when you in a struggle with crafting. So what are these called? Dunks? These are dunks, okay? They wasn't even really cheap. What we talking about, these cheap shoes? They wasn't even really cheap, but I got these. I love the color. I have a jogging suit to match it, but they just kind of plain. They just wasn't saying, they wasn't screaming Carmen. And so I really wanted to take these to the next level. The shoes that I wanted were some $1,200 Gucci shoes. I eventually did get the Gucci shoes too, but it's a different look from these. But when I got these, I was compromising because it wasn't really what I wanted. I wanted something that was going to pop more. And so because I am a crafter, I have the ability to craft, I was able to take these simple dunks and turn them into this. Now, I'm going to do the other one. Don't think I'm going to wear them as well, but I want to be able to show y'all. See, this is what the shit I'll be doing for y'all so y'all can see. I could have did both of them, but I only did one. So I can show y'all this is the one, and then this is what's going to look like when I'm done both of them. This is the other one. Bam! Come on. Coming from struggle, being able to get something that was out of reach for me. This is more on a popping side of what the Gucci shoe was looking like. It had a bunch of bling on it, and it was just dope. And so I was able to transform these plain dunks into these. These are more attention grabbing. These are, these say, "Here I am, baby. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours." This is what these are saying. And so this is a very, very fun crafting item that I made. And I'm going to show y'all a video of me making the other one. But this is how I did it. I'm going to have all my stuff out. But if you want to make something similar, because who has time to put, these are not individual bling, but they're going to look like it when you have it on. So you get these bling sheets and you do your cutouts and you get your adhesive and you make it happen. Okay, baby, this right here, I never would compare myself to Jesus Christ. But baby, this is how we turn water into wine around. We turning water into wine around here, y'all. So be creative. Get into those creative juices and let them flow with crafting. I've done many other patterns with this, taking Louis Vuitton fabric, Gucci fabric, and doing a mesh with the Air Forces and the Gucci And I'll be showing you guys those later on in this podcast season. But this is an example of crafting from the struggle. So thank you guys for watching. We have come to the end of the show, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for your amazing support. Please remember to reach out to me. Tell me your story. I'll listen. Write in. We're getting ready to have our last segment of comical confessions. And so write in your comical confession, and maybe we'll read it on the show. We have amazing gifts. And I know y'all like, I said, let me see if I want to give. Trust me, all of the submissions are being reviewed, and we get ready to start giving this cute shit away. I'm going to give away an item in Carmen's closet. We're going to raffle that off. We have a lot of fun things. So please write in to But Did You Die Though podcast at gmail.com. Once again, write into But Did You Die Though at But Did You Die Though podcast at gmail.com. Right now, our comical confession has just been the whole show, you know. The whole show has been one big comical confession. The funny thing about it is that I come from struggle, and I'm proud of my struggle. I wear my scars with pride, and I'm happy that you guys came and tuned in with me today for episode 3. So you all are official. A lot of times people often ask me how I even got into comedy, which is crazy because I never will forget the first time that I was on stage. What actually brought me to comedy was a book by Pastor Rick Warren called Purpose Driven Life. I was going to a church, and this church was like, you know, had like a book club, and it was like books of the week or of the month. And so this was the book. And so I started reading this book. And as I'm reading this book, I was so inspired by the encouragement that the book got. It just made me want to find my purpose for life. At the time, I was a single mother of 3 children working at a hospital doing medical collections. And I always dreamed of being an entertainer. I always wanted to be an actress. And so after I read the book, I decided to go chase my dream to be an actress. And I realized that it's not easy getting into acting. I realized that most successful actors have several different avenues that they go down to becoming actors. And one of those avenues was comedy. If you look at most of the successful actors, most of them start out as comedians, you know. And so I realized why. And that's because once you've mastered going up into an audience full of strangers and making them laugh simultaneously with your act, when you go from that to acting, when you get a script and you get to practice and you get to do it over if you mess up, that ain't nothing compared to doing stand-up. Stand-up comedy is probably one of the most difficult forms of entertainment that will ever exist. It's so much different from singing or dances or any other form. And so a lot of reasons why they're successful is because they started out with the most difficult things. So I said, let me just try it. And I'll never forget, it was a Tuesday night, and they had an open mic at the Funny Bone. And so every week I would, you know, after I read this book, every week I would try to go onto the website and get them to pick my name, because you had to tell them, okay, I'm Carmen Barden. This is the reason why I want to do comedy, you know, or, you know, please let me get 5 minutes or whatever. And so they was never picking me, yo. And so finally I realized that they wanted you to bring people. And so I said, if y'all let me go up, I'm gonna bring a gang of people. And so they picked me. And the day that they picked me was a day that I had a court date. I had a court date for one of these warrants. And so I had to make a decision. Am I gonna go to court and have another warrant, or I'm gonna go do comedy? And so I said, I'm gonna try to do both. So I went to court, and my last name is Barton. I figured they should call me first. And so I get to court. The comedy club, I had to be at the comedy club at 7:30. Court started at 7. I get to court at 6:30. They done called everybody. Williams, Smith. I'm like, how is this happening? I'm B. Boy, I'm supposed to have been first. 7 o'clock, 7:15. I had to make a decision. I left. I said, I took that wound. I left. I had my same outfit. I never will forget. I just recently threw this outfit away because the boots was dry rotting. I had on some hot pink knee-high boots, a little pink mini skirt, and a striped pink sweater. And then I had on like a pink trench coat. I looked a fucking mess. I don't know, but I thought I was cute. And I actually had a ponytail that was similar to this ponytail that I have now. And I never will forget, I get to the open mic, and I was the only female and the only black person. It was all white boys. White men, whatever you want to call them. But they had these notebooks and shit with all these jokes in them. I'm like, I don't have no damn notebook. I got this little tube of lipstick. I'm like, I actually asked myself, like, what the fuck am I doing here? And so I didn't know anything about doing comedy. And so I went on stage, and before I went on stage, the host that introduced me, when I came onto stage, I was so nervous. I'm not even a nervous type of chick. I go onto stage, and he said, I never forget these words. He said, just have fun. Just get up there and have fun. And I said, you know what? That's what I'm just going to have fun. I went up there. I don't even know what I was saying, but all I know is they was laughing. Everybody was laughing. I didn't know what the light was. I learned that night because I ran the light. The light mean get off. I'm like, maybe that must mean I'm doing good. They give me lights. Okay, bitch is killing. So it was so crazy. And everybody was telling me that I was the best one. Like these dudes have been doing comedy for years, going up there practicing their shit. I was freestyling. And so they picked me next. They picked me again the next week. And so I went back the next week. And I remember the second week, I did have a joke about Floyd Mayweather that week. Because it was during the time that maybe, I think that it was a time that there was a fight going on. I don't know what it was. But anyway, after the third week, I heard about another club called Two St. Louis Brothers. And it was Kenny's show, and I got on that show. What is the dude's name that put me on? I got to think of his name or he'll kill me. I'll just talk to Terrence. Terrence put me on that show, and I had never performed for black people. This was all white people in the funny bone. And you know, white people, they laugh at anything. And so now I had to do this shit for black people, and I'm talking about this club was packed. They had this segment called 5 Minutes of Fame, where you get up, you do 5 minutes, and you know, either you sink or swim. And so I was so nervous, and I remember going up there and killing. And that was like my 4th time ever on stage. And after that day, they gave me a job, and I was the host of the 5 Minutes of Fame. So I would go up, and I would open the show up every week, and I would host the 5 Minutes of Fame and bring the 5 Minutes of Fame person up, and then I would bring the host up every week. And that is the job that strengthened me. That's the job that gave me the ability to learn how to write new material, because it was a repeat crowd. And I met so many comedians. That's where I met, oh God, David Arnold, Rodney Perry. It was a Wednesday night room. So everybody, all of the Midwest comedians would come in and do it. All the Chicago comedians. Everybody who somebody came and did that Wednesday night. Deion Cole, everybody came and did that Wednesday night. And eventually, under the suggestion, I think Chris Spencer, between Chris Spencer and Rodney Perry, it's like, God, you funny. You only been doing this shit a year. You need to move to LA, you know. And I did. And the rest is history. DY Deers. Y'all part of the, y'all been Carmenized. Y'all are my Carmenistas. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Catch us next week. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow my Instagram at Carmen Comedy. And don't forget to comment. If you're watching this on one of your podcast formats, jump onto YouTube. Subscribe to my page. Comment. if you can relate, if you insane, if you one of my friends, followers from the crib, you from the Lou, look, tell me about when you got locked up. Tell me about how you overcame your warrants. You probably got warrants right now. I'm thinking about, listen, you don't never know where you might catch. You catch me on a good day, I might pay somebody warrants off. I don't know what I do, but I definitely want to continue to get back to the community. So I'm definitely, teetering into how I'm going to continue to get back to the community because you guys are what helped me get out of the struggle from your love and support. So till next time, y'all. I'm Carmen Barton. Have an amazing day. And remember, you did not die. Confessions of a Widow. See y'all next time.